Hi, everyone. So, we're all talking about ascension or the new earth and what's going to happen in this remarkable transitional year. Wondering what life will be when we get beyond this troubled 3D world. What would a human need to learn and become proficient in before moving on to a higher 5D life or above? Well, we would first need to be aware that the higher the frequency, the faster things manifest. So we would need to be able to control our thoughts. We would need to get good at focusing only on those things that we would want to create and include in our world. This is what we would need to determine before being ready to move on into the higher frequency life. And this should be our work here. The earth is an experiment, a game that star beings willingly come to play, both for the adventure and for the expansion it brings to the soul. When the experiment began, it was programmed as a game of survival. You know, a lot like our action-packed computer games. However, over time, the level of difficulty has been purposely raised, and the experiment is now set at the most difficult level. And beyond just survival, it is now an ascension game, where before incarnating here, the star being designs a plan with all the pivotal roles and significant events built into their avatar role within the game or movie. And of course, one of the most important details within the plan is the veil of forgetting, where the avatar, the human, will agree to come in blind with little or no memory of who they really are. See, we were not forced into this life as a human. We planned it all. We knew the game before we came into it. We designed a map, a blueprint of our choices and movements within the game that our character would follow, leaving some room for diversion or distraction to make the game even more interesting, and in some cases, more dangerous. So guides were assigned to interfere if we got too far off the scripted route. So, you see, there's nothing really for your human to do other than to surrender to the game. It's already there for you to take part in. It's like being an actor in an exciting movie. The character the actor is portraying doesn't know from scene to scene what's going to happen next, but the script has already been written and the movie completed. So our job as actors is to yield to the script. It helps to get a grasp on how our world, our life and surroundings come about. Is this indeed a friendly universe, or plagued with wickedness and immorality? It's actually all sort of backwards to how we may see it. Most of us observe the world and then decide how we feel about it. We may even watch the news and take our cue from what it's showing us. You know, wars, political battles, financial doom, and believe that our life is bad because of what's going on in the world. They are doing it to us. They are causing all the problems. And that's why my life sucks. When in reality, it's the exact opposite. It's our view of the universe and how we feel about it that creates our very lives and the world we live in, our daily existence. The way we see the world creates it. If we give our attention to the state of earthly concerns, society, and allow that to affect us, that becomes our own concern and constructs that very reality that we call our life. So, what is an ascension game? Well, the goal is to remember, to increase our awareness, to rise in vibration and conquer the obstacles and restrictions of third density. Each level freeing us from the ignorance and imprisonment of the lower levels. So, how do we defeat the evil monsters and win the Ascension game? The solution may surprise some of you because it seems in complete opposition of our human instinct. Yet, that is the hidden strategy, the key to the doorway leading to the exit that one must discover to fully understand exactly what it is that has provided some humans with a knowledge or faculty to be able to completely and unconditionally accept and embrace their life exactly as it comes, no matter what is happening in their lives or in the world. So, how is it possible to maintain a positive attitude within this sea of self-centeredness? I discovered that no matter how hard you try to change others or the world, it will never work. This is because it's a consensual universe. Most of us are on a default setting, putting our attention on what is wrong. Therefore, by focusing on what we don't like, only creating more of it. The world we live in is constantly being built and altered through our own beliefs and impressions of what we see and hear. So we're authorizing others, the planet, to dictate our reality instead of the other way around, where we, through our welcoming reception, are able to impose upon the world a reality based upon our own loving heart. Have you noticed that when a person has lived to a very old age, let's say over 100, when asked their philosophy of life, they nearly all say the same thing. Don't take life so seriously. This is the key. These elders, through their life experience, have figured out how to let go of worry. Looking back over life, they've been able to recognize how hoping to change others is a useless battle and only causes stress and disease. I remember Wayne Dyer one time telling of a family member who was previously very uptight, but after a near-death experience became very calm under any condition, dogs barking. When the interviewer asked why he thought this was, Wayne said, "It's because she now sees the bigger picture. he intimated that she now knows that things are always the way they're meant to be. Therefore, it does no good to complain or become a victim of circumstance. That will only bring unhappiness and illness. And that's a hard concept to swallow unless you're able to view it from a higher insight. It's like Einstein said, we cannot solve our problems with the same level of thinking that created them. And this suggests the need for a shift in mindset, withdrawing from the conventional thinking and embracing a new perspective to successfully confront our problems. You know, one of my favorite movies from several years ago was Forrest Gump. I was so taken by his innocence, which of course was blamed on his low IQ, but was really just the way he saw things. He completely lived in the present moment. Like when he decided to take off for a run for no particular reason. He just put on his new Nike jogging shoes and ran and ran and ran. Well, he ends up running for 3 years. 3 years, 2 months, 14 days, and 16 hours, to be exact. Crossing the Mississippi River 4 times. Well, at some point, as you know, he comes to be a sort of celebrity curiosity. And as others become intrigued with why this reclusive individual would do something so unconventional, he begins to pick up followers who figure that he must be on some amazing spiritual quest. I think recognizing his peaceful demeanor, they began following him, wanting to know what he knows, until he has a huge crowd behind him, hoping he will lead them to nirvana, hoping that when he stopped, they would learn the meaning of life. Well, one day he stops running. Everyone who's behind him also stops, eagerly waiting, straining to hear what they had been waiting for mile after mile. They watched in total silence as he turned around to face them. And what were these great, long-awaited words of wisdom? I think I'll go home now. He wasn't running for a reason. He was just running because he wanted to. And when he was done, he was done. Oh, and for you movie fans, it turns out he ends up running 13,889 miles. Yeah, this simple, beautiful soul just living his life, doing something none of us would ever consider doing. My kind of movie. Well, back in the early 80s was the first time I ever heard the now famous statement by Guru Krishnamurti. Well, Krishnamurti was an Indian mystic who, rather ironically, felt very strongly that if you're following someone else, like a spiritual teacher or a guru, you'll never find truth. Well, it was during his 1977 lecture in California when during his talk, he paused and leaned forward to the audience, and with a sort of conspiratorial tone, he said, "Do you want to know what my secret is?" And of course, the entire audience leans forward in anticipation. Then, in sort of a a hushed voice, he said, "You see, I don't mind what happens." Well, when I first heard him say this, a feeling of electricity shot through me. And I knew this was the answer I had been searching for. If I could only make this happen for myself. So, over months and years, I began asking myself what that would be like. What if I didn't mind if I had money or not, and never worried about it? Imagine, what would that feel like? What would it feel like to not mind if I was alone and had no one to talk to or to kiss or to cook for? What would it feel like to be completely unconcerned whether I had hair or not, whether people liked me, whether I had friends? What would it feel like to be free from this societal pressure of being accepted, to be acceptable just as I am? I've learned that this pressure we put upon ourselves creates an internal conflict. Always measuring and analyzing the circumstance to determine whether we pass the test of being good enough, pretty enough, smart enough. And this internal assessment can follow us throughout life. Yet, when we reach a point of not being bothered by anything, then there is no conflict inside. And when there's no conflict inside, there's no conflict outside. Happiness is accepting what is and letting go of what you can't control. If you rely on the outside world to provide you with happiness, like a boyfriend or a new car, then you'll be controlled by whatever's happening in your life. As Joseph Campbell put it, we must let go of the life we have planned so as to accept the one that is waiting for us. Great quote. In fact, nothing outside of us has any meaning at all until we give it meaning. However, we need to remember that if viewed through fear or apprehension, the meaning we give it could be very flawed. For example, if someone has lied to us, we may decide that now everything that person says to us is a lie. Then what can happen is that since we have given this meaning to everything we hear from this person, the brain can receive the emotion that we're feeling and actually reinforce that truth. Okay, so we can't control the circumstances of life, but what we can control is how we respond to those circumstances. It's a decision, just like any other decision, to quit smoking or give up sweets. Just like those victories. This may seem difficult at first too, but when we make the decision, we really can learn to accept life just as it is. And believe me, when we're able to do this, life gets so easy because there's no reaction to it. There's no reaction to anything, no stress involved in anything that comes along. We really can create an authentic life through learning to say yes to our reality. And this is not a weakness. This is a strength. We're not pretending. We're simply accepting the wisdom that everything is just what it is. The circumstance or event is not bad or good. It just is. The other part of this is that once we realize we can't control what another person thinks or feels, there's no reason for emotion, like anger or disappointment. Once we can rethink how we're going to interpret life, getting through each harsh experience becomes much easier. This is our escape hatch, our ascension from ignorance into the brilliance of insight, and finally, wisdom. And how do we accelerate this ascension process? How do we enter that new earth everyone's talking about, that beautiful 5D world we're all hoping to gain entry into? This is it. Through learning the art of surrender. Once we truly understand that ascension is not a material or physical action or accomplishment, it's the rising into a higher state of being and allowing that intrinsic vibrational flow of consciousness that is the core of who we innately are. Our true essence incorporates all levels of light frequency, all the way back to source. We are that divine light that is the new earth. And that isness is source itself. Okay, enough for now. I love you guys. Bye.